Hey, hey, us again, and you're at 633 Wake Up with Kimberly and Sharon, and we are sharing the life of what? The life of Jesus, the life of living for Jesus, and the message, most often the message Bible, and always the message of the good news, and that is living with Jesus. And you know what? Look at us. Isn't this cool? We did not plan this. We match. And, you got to find the happy in life.
In the little things of life. We
And
don't have microphones today.
that's okay, because it picks us up very well.
Okay.
And so one of my happy moments when Sharon got out of the car today was that, hey, we match. And that's just one of the little things that I choose to say that God arranges. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We did our Soul Sisters support group last week, and I came to the table with the topic of, we're going to talk about the habit of happy. And I thought it would be a really easy topic that we would just flow and share. And I was blown away by the different perspectives and the depth of the conversation that we got into. So I have asked Sharon if we can even dig into that more today, the habit of happy. So I pray that you and us have eyes to see, ears to hear, hearts to receive and react for that which He has for us today. So Sharon, what's your opinion about the habit of happy?
My opinion. I also was surprised at our Soul Sisters. At everybody's reactions to the word happy. I think for some people it might be a trigger word. I also think that everybody kind of has a different definition.
Yeah, and that's what we dug
of
into.
Happy, and that's mostly how our conversation went. Happy for me, as I was telling you before, it's not, I don't feel that happy is a constant state of mind, right? I don't walk around happy all day long, right? For me, there are moments of happiness or times, experiences of happiness throughout my day or throughout my week where I just feel happy. However, I do carry with me really a feeling of contentment most of the time, satisfied with my life, right? And so I think when you talk about the habit of happy, we really need a definition of happy, because I think it can throw some people off, and it can get some people stuck, and it can kind of make it sound like we expect people to walk around grinning and jumping for joy all the time. So what exactly is happy? What does the emotion of happiness look like, feel like?
So we talked about that a lot on Monday, and like I said, it was to me very surprising how the different definitions came in, the different opinions, the different views of even emotions in general, not just happy emotion. And if you've been listening to the episodes this past week when Alana gave her testimony, I believe it was last Wednesday, yesterday? No. Yeah, I think so.
Yesterday.
Anyways, one of the comments that she made in her fight for her life, she knows that feelings are big fat liars.
Yeah.
So, there is absolute truth that we cannot let our emotions rule us. They cannot dictate what we live by.
I have said many, many times that our emotions are the least reliable sorts of information that we have available to us.
Yes.
Because they're so influenced by so many things, right? That aren't necessarily accurate or true.
Absolutely. So Sharon looked up some of the synonyms to the word happy. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And it's just such a broad thing. And maybe before you say that, I'll talk about my state right now is definitely in happy, that I have spent all summer specifically creating the habit of happy. But most of my life, partly because of my ADHD, partly because of always having money issues, raising 4 kids, having grandchildren, living so close to my family, working outside of the home. I mean, my head was busy. And so I didn't have an intention to be happy. I had an intention to survive, to get through day after day after day after day. And happy was a very fleeting thought, occasionally, mostly when I was looking through the eyes of a child. And it just wasn't something that was ever in my life for many, many years.
So would you say then, for many, many years, you just didn't feel happy?
Very rarely. Like, content was different, right? Because, I would say I am still happily married.
And that's a phrase, but what does that mean, happily?
Right.
Right.
So, there was nothing exactly terribly wrong with life, but like my intention of talking about the habit of happy is that being intentional to recognize the happy, because it wasn't that I was exactly unhappy. It was that I was too busy to notice that I was happy.
That's very different than being not happy.
Right?
Right.
So that's what I wanted. Why I brought this habit of happy to the table is because the circumstances really don't matter. It's a choice that I make daily to have this intention of happy. Every single day, multiple times in a day, I'm intentional at finding something to make me happy. And last week or 2 weeks ago, I was on my Facebook feed saying, my fun of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Right? My fun of the day. And that was part of my intention of being happy. What was my favorite thing of the day? What made me feel happy? And one day it was that I got to sit in my rocking chair and they were all gone home. But it was still that moment that makes me happy, sitting in my rocking chair.
Right.
Some days it's a butterfly or looking at a flower or, laughing. And so it's just being intentional of making a habit of happy. But let's listen to the synonyms and go from there.
I'm really big on words. I'm a word person. I think because I'm a writer. But so when we were talking about what does happy mean, because it meant something different pretty much to each lady in our group. And so I said, well, what are the synonyms? Like, what words mean happy? What's interchangeable with happy? And so the definition of happy for this, the use of synonyms, is feeling or showing pleasure or contentment. And so then, of course, content or contented is a synonym. Cheerful, joyful, carefree, smiling. It's hard to smile when you're not feeling happy, right? Or you're not feeling joyful. Another one is blessed.
We talked about that on Monday.
Mm-hmm. Lighthearted or good-humored. So there's lots of times you can feel lighthearted, right? You can joke around. Is that the same as being happy? Right? So I think there's a lot of stigma attached to the word happy, especially in the environment that we have these days, with so much emphasis on our mental health, and so many people struggling with mental health issues. I think happy has become a really charged word, like, because it's hard to be happy when you're depressed. It's hard to be happy when you're anxious, right? And so sometimes I think, people, especially people with some mental health issues, or people who are struggling just in their lives, with circumstances, they think, well, I can't be struggling and be happy too. I can't be depressed and be happy too. And so that's kind of, I can identify with that, but like I said, for me, happy is like moments.
Yeah.
Right? I don't walk around happy, joy, right? All the time. But happy comes in little moments for me. And it's silly as it sounds. When I get up in the morning, and I take my first drink of coffee, I think it makes me happy.
Right.
Right? I just feel like, well, there's that contented, right? Often in the morning, I take my coffee out on the back deck in the summertime, and I just stand there for a few minutes, just to see what the weather's like today, or check out my backyard, or look at my flowers, and I have peace, and I'm, I smile. And when you're smiling,
that's happy.
That's happy. It's really hard to smile genuinely if you're not happy, right? You can force a smile, but that's not a genuine emotion. And so, but that, because I'm happy on my deck looking at my flowers with my cup of coffee, and a smile comes to my face, that doesn't mean that when I go back inside and I start to get ready for my day, that I'm unhappy.
Right.
Right? Because unhappy, if you look at the synonyms for unhappy, it's sad, morose, down in the dumps, right?
Yes.
So the absence of happiness doesn't necessarily mean sad.
Right.
Right? So that's what I have to say right now.
we talked a lot on Monday about the word contented. And we talked a lot about, the joy of the Lord. They could, it could be more understood in a perspective of the joy of the Lord. And we talked about that. We talked about our faith being, does happy come in that level of trust? I mean, there's so many layers to this.
Yes, there is.
This concept of happy. And so one of the ones that has struck me recently is out of the Amplified Bible. And I brought this up as well at group, that the Beatitudes, and we know them, and most often I'm reading from the Message Bible, but the Lord had me dig out my Amplified for this happy thing. So I was looking up in the Amplified happy and the different scriptures. And so the Beatitudes pop up, and there's a couple of them here where, in the brackets is a amplified version of the word. And so, we know this, blessed are the poor in spirit, right? For theirs is the kingdom of heaven. But the Amplified says blessed, and then says happy. to be envied and spiritually prosperous, with life joy and satisfaction in God's favor and salvation, regardless of outward conditions. And so
that's what blessed is.
That's what blessed is. And you read in your synonyms, one of those words for happy was blessed.
Yes.
And, the timing that I'm in my life, that probably incorporates for me my most precious definition of the word happy is that no matter what's going on, I can be intentional at any second, in any moment, to grab that on the inside of me, because the presence of God is inside me, and I can grab a hold of that at any second, in any circumstance, in any place, and know that I am blessed, that I am happy, that I am joyful, that I am satisfied and content in the moment, that there's always something, even if that something is Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And, that is absolutely the primary happy. Is I know, you didn't know me before I was a Christian, but you knew me in the early years of my Christianity.
Yes, I did.
And I was pretty rough around the edges and pretty forceful. And, but I was not a nice person before Jesus. So, I know that I can, I would be divorced if Jesus didn't get a hold of me. So that makes me happy, just knowing that. Right. I can always pull back to that moment even. But one of my favorite songs, and the last year that I was working outside of the home, I often had this song on repeat in the car on the way to work and the way home, because I didn't want to go out the door. I didn't want to do what I was doing. I didn't want to. So I would be playing this song on repeat. And we were going to read that chorus today.
Yes.
And
I'm sure you probably know it off by heart, but...
Well, I haven't listened to it a lot recently. I've been stuck, I seem to be stuck in a song or two for weeks and months.
Right.
So this one is Jeremy Camp's song, Keep Me in the Moment.
Right.
And Sharon's going to read the chorus.
And the chorus says, keep me in the moment. Wait a minute. Yeah. Keep me in the moment. Help me live with my eyes wide open, because I don't want to miss what you have for me. Right? Oh Lord, show me what matters. Throw away what I'm chasing after, because I don't want to miss what you have for me. And so I think that kind of brings up another point that I want to make about happy. And it's, we were talking about the habit of happy. And I think 2 points that I want to say. And one is that we make choices about how we live each day of our life. I don't even know what the number is. It's some astronomical number of choices that we make every day.
Decisions, yeah.
And somebody has studied this somewhere. It's almost I think it was around 3,000. I might be wrong. Right from, opening our eyes in the morning, getting out of bed.
Yep.
To brushing our teeth, to what we're going to eat, to what we're going to say in each interaction that we have throughout the day, and what habits we have. And so I believe that we choose how we live our life. We make choices to determine how our life is going to be lived. And we are responsible for those choices, right? And choosing to be grateful or positive, or to look for the good in things,
right,
is a habit, and we can choose to be that way, or we can choose to be negative.
That's right.
Right?
Yep.
And if we want more joy, if we want more contentment, if we want to feel more blessed, we can choose to look at the good and be grateful for those things. And that requires us very often to live in the moment.
Yes.
Like you were saying, when you were younger, you were so busy.
Yep.
All the time. Even if you weren't moving around, your head was moving, your brain was moving. And how many women know about that, right? Your brain never stops. And I think, if you want to choose to live in the moment, you have to quiet your brain. You have to quiet your soul. And notice what's going on around you. Help me see what you have for me, Lord.
That's right.
Right?
Keep
me in the moment. And when you pay attention to the little things that are going on in your life with an air of gratitude, then it's possible to be happy no matter what's going on, because you're always going to find something.
Yes.
Something in your life to be grateful for. And when you're feeling grateful, that's a form of happiness.
Yes.
So the other thing I wanted to say is because I believe that happy has become a word that is very emotionally charged and stuff. I think we need to sometimes just remove it from our vocabulary.
Wow.
Because as we heard, there are many words that you can use instead of happy. And I can say, I'm feeling very grateful today. Right? Look what happened to my face when I said that. You smile. You smile when you're grateful. I can look around my life in a moment and say, I have a lot of good in my life. Right? And I can be content about that. And when you're content, you're happy. And, there are a lot of other words that we can use. Joy. When I watch my little nieces and nephews play, and they're just little wee, and I'm laughing and I'm smiling at their antics and their innocence, and that's joy.
Yes.
Right? And so we need to practice, like, instead of the habit of happy, which sounds really cool because they're both H's, right? We need the habit of positivity, the habit of gratitude, the habit of looking around for what God has for us in our everyday lives. It's where you put your eyes.
It's where you put your eyes. And while you were talking, two of the things that happened, give me your glasses, is, so I saw this, that, can you see, my glasses are kind of dark.
Yeah.
And if I were in the brighter place, they're even darker.
Right.
But these ones are clear. And this is the intention, is what pair of glasses are you going to put on when you get up in the morning to face your day? This is the intention. Are you going to look through a dimly lit day? Or are you going to have the intention of clarity and what Jesus has for you?
With your eyes wide open.
With your eyes wide open. Keep your eyes wide open. Don't let those grays and darkness and heaviness of life come in. Does that mean they're not there? No, they're there. But we have a choice to make. Of
they
intention.
Don't color your vision.
That's right. They don't let them color your vision. And the other thing that comes to my mind is, and I've said it here before many times, and I'm going to say it again today as we close. We all got messed up differently, and we all get cleaned up differently. We are in different layers of different seasons of our life, you know, like just like the whole world, you know, this is our very hot summer, but it's Australia's winter, right? So we too, as God's people, are in different seasons and different levels. And so when we have differences of definitions or differences of seasons and the steps that we are taking, we must remember that we are love. Because I think of, you know, this dear pastor that said to me that we have to love each other enough to trust God with the person. I don't need to convince you, or you convince me, or convict me. We share our story, and God molds us and makes us into who He wants us to be. So, you know, Sharon said that the happy is a very charged word, but it was a word, like God has been showing me since Monday, that it is a word that I didn't have in my vocabulary for many, 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 many years. It was a word that I wouldn't allow myself to look at. But part of the journey I'm on is intentionally looking at that word, intentionally using that word. And like, you know, I know that I know, and in my journal a few weeks ago, that God said to me that He said, you should be the happiest person you know.
Oh.
You should be the happiest person you know. Because He came and died for us to have an abundant life. And the Message Bible says a more and better life. You know, that what they had in the garden before the fall, when they had that relationship with their Father, their Creator in the garden, the absence of sin consciousness, the absence of fear, the absence of shame, the absence of guilt, the absence of regret. They had that. Jesus came and died for us, so that was restored. And this world and this perspective and this darkness, and they're always trying to keep us from that kind of happy, that kind of contentment, that kind of abundant life and freedom. And I know that that's what God is working on me right now, to be the happiest person I know. So I pray that we know that we are a blessed people, and that we bless you, and we pray that we all go out and be a blessing. There is such a world out there that is carrying so much heaviness, so much fear, so much shame and guilt. And we have the answer. We know the answer. It's Jesus. Mm-hmm. And your story, as you bless others, will help. So until next time, we're not going to say be happy. Maybe we will. Mm-hmm. Anyways, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.